Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. We're actually talking about Newcastle again, but if you're not a fan of Newcastle, don't worry because this will probably be the last video on them for quite a while on the channel. Anyway, as always, we're going to do a team guide in the same vein as the ones that I did for Manchester United, Arsenal and Barcelona already this year. I figured Newcastle would be a good fourth one to do because of course they are a very popular team at the moment. So we're mainly going to be looking at new transfers and the existing squad in this video. If you want to know a little bit more about the club, check out the two links in the description, where one of them is a history video I made over a year ago, well before the current takeover started to become news, and one that was much more recent where I tell you how to do the takeover in FIFA 22. Anyway, let's get started by looking at the players they have who are already good enough for that title challenge. In goal, Freddie Woodman I think does have more than enough potential to be a goalkeeper in a title challenging team. Kasper Schmeichel only was an 82 overall when Leicester City won the league in FIFA 16, so having an 84 potential goalkeeper is more than good enough. I would recommend not strengthening here to begin with. At right centre mid, Willock again has more than enough potential to be a good enough player for a title challenging starting team. He's going to get into the mid-80s himself. He's got decent pace, good finishing, good passing, good dribbler, everything you need for a more attacking midfielder on the right side of your team. On the left wing, you've of course got Allison Maxum, who is definitely going to be good enough for a title winning team. He's really good on FIFA, of course. He's got 5-star skills, he's absolutely rapid, really good on the ball, and he's good at finishing on FIFA. Outside of these three, which I think are more than good enough to start, you have four backups that I would recommend you keep around. If you keep Dubravka as a backup goalkeeper, you won't even have to think about signing a new keeper between the sticks. Recent signing Santiago Muñoz might not be as good as his fictional counterpart, but if he reaches his potential, he could easily be around a mid-80s himself, which is definitely good enough to be on your bench in a title challenging team. Matty Longstaff again might be out on loan, but I do think he's got a good enough potential to be a backup central midfielder. He's good going forwards and defending, but he is more of a playmaker than a defensive midfielder, so if that's the kind of player that you want to keep around, he's a cheap option on the bench, and of course he is a local lad. Finally, we have Jamal Lasalle, who I always thought had potential to one day play for England. He might not have ever actually reached that kind of level, but he's still more than good enough to be a backup centre-back off the bench. He's not too slow, he's got some good height, and of course he is very good on the ball. With Lascelles, that makes 7 players you're going to want to keep around the main team, even if you sell every other player and replace them with better signings. So let's have a look at some of those better signings and suggest some ways that you can implement them into your tactic and hopefully get you motoring up the league with Newcastle. Starting at the back, some of the players that's going to be replacing previously mentioned Jamal Lasalle include James Tarkowski. He's running out of contract, he's one of the best players aerially in the entire league, and he's also got the best stat for bringing the ball into midfield. So he wins the ball in the air and he brings it forwards and passes it to a defensive midfielder or a playmaker in the centre of the park. Signing Tarkowski would be a big part of improving the fluidity of moving the ball from the goalkeeper to the attackers. 74 passing makes him one of the best ball-playing defenders in FIFA, and he's also got decent pace, and of course, as previously mentioned, he's a bit of a beast in the air. So he'd probably be playing right centre-back for you, and at left centre-back, I'd go for Cabango from Swansea. He's got huge potential, and he is starting to develop pretty well at Swansea. This season in the Championship, Cabango has been one of the best central defenders at passing and linking up with defensive midfielders, similar to how Tarkowski's been doing it in the Premier League. Of course, Cabango again would be probably cheaper than Tarkowski, despite having a much longer contract. They're both similar to Lascelles, so you can probably use Lascelles in place of Cabango until you do develop him up, because he does only start at 72 overall, which is definitely not going to be good enough for a Premier League centre-back. The combination of Tarkowski, Lascelles and Cabango would give you a really good progressive passing game, moving the ball from the back to the front accurately and quickly, which would help with either counter-attack, and of course they can all combine well in a possession game. I've mentioned that you'll probably have Willock playing on the right of centre midfield, but on the left I would recommend going for Donnie Van Der Beek. Now this is a player that's been linked heavily in real life, same as Tarkowski. Donnie doesn't seem to be that wanted at Manchester United, but I think he would definitely be the main man at Newcastle, the star player, the franchise player, whatever you want to call him. He's the ideal player to link centre-backs with attacking players, so he works well with Tarkowski and Cabango. Donnie Van Der Beek is one of the best players in the world at shuttling the ball from defence into the attacking areas of the pitch. He's got consistent and accurate passing to make sure the ball does receive to an attacking player who then can do a dribble or maybe do a bit more of a creative pass. He isn't all about running and doing short simple passes though. Donnie Van Der Beek is one of the best players in the league at winning 50-50s and recycling possession to stop counter-attacks. So you'll not only improve going forwards, but with Donnie Van Der Beek playing left central midfielder for you, you'll be really good at keeping the ball moving, keeping the ball in the opponent's half, and hopefully fashioning some pretty good chances high up the pitch. So with Tarkowski, Cabango and Donnie Van Der Beek all focused on bringing the ball from defence to attack, you're going to probably need to improve the attacking situation. Of course, you have Callum Wilson, who can't really do it all on his own, and Newcastle has tried to implement new strikers over the past couple of years. Joe Linton and Andy Carroll probably haven't quite had the impact that they would have liked over the last couple of seasons, but some of the signings they've been linked with really could bring Newcastle to the next level. Lacazette is the big name signing, and only 5 years ago he was one of the hottest prospects in France. Lacazette might not have torn up trees at Arsenal, but he has been averaging between 10 and 15 goals a season for the past 5 years. This year he's only made 2 appearances, but with 50 Premier League goals in just 130 games, he would bring some good experience to the front line of Newcastle. The opposite of this is Stoke-born Chilean international Ben Brereton Diaz. He's finally living up to the potential he showed at Nottingham Forest when he made his debut at just 17 years old. His contract also expires in just 6 months, and a move to the Premier League would be possible if he can continue the amazing club and country form he started the season with. While he might only have 21 career goals in the Championship from 144 games, 10 of them have come in the first 11 games of this season. With 7 goals in 40 games last season, proved that he is currently developing and improving every single season. He's only 22 years old, and despite this he has played nearly 150 career games, so he's got good experience for a young player, and I think he's only a couple of seasons away from stepping up to the Premier League. With good potential, maybe he could be the one that leads Newcastle's front line into the next era. Mohamed Bayo is another option. He might not have the best FIFA stats, but he is due a big upgrade. Last season he hit 22 goals in 38 games in League 2. He started off with 5 goals in his first 9 games in League 1, and Newcastle have a history of signing players from France. If he keeps this form up, you'll definitely see other Premier League teams sniffing at the Guinean forward, but it's unseen yet if Newcastle would like the target man to be heading up north. Personally, if I was doing the save, I would probably go for Lacazette and Ben Brereton, because I think that would be a good combination of having a player to develop while also having a star player up front. Lacazette might not be the big name he used to be, but he does still have quite a lot of pace and really good finishing, which makes him pretty good and fun to use on FIFA. Other positions you can try and strengthen, such as fullback and attacking midfield, depend more on the style of play you're going to bring to the toon. But some suggestions could be training up Jamal Lewis at left back, signing Max Aarons to be a right back, or maybe splashing the cash on a Premier League big name like Tariq Lamptey, who always had massive potential. Of course, at attacking midfield, they've been linked to players like Dele Alli, who's more of a deep-lying striker who likes to break beyond the forwards. And they've also been linked to Philippe Coutinho, who's more of a traditional playmaker in midfield. So it's up to you how you want to play and line up with your attacking midfielders, so I'll let you decide that. But if you do the save, please do let me know in the comments who you sign. It would be super interesting to see who you guys spend your money on when you're trying to get this fallen giant back to European glory. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and I would much appreciate it if you could hit the like button or subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it, hopefully you learned a little bit more about Newcastle, and check out the 2 links that I put in the description below for my other 2 Newcastle videos, because I do know this is a team that a lot of people are trying to learn quite a bit about. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and hopefully I'll see you very soon for my next video on the Geografifa channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers!